The human body is something we deal with every day. Everyone has seen a naked body in some form or another, yet when it comes to nudity in film, people tend to shy away. Nudity has always been a taboo subject among moviegoers, actors, and filmmakers. 1921 marked the beginning of film history, and nudity was something that was used regularly. At the beginning of the 1930s, the Catholic Legion of Decency stepped in and created the Hays Code, which banned many things that could be considered unholy. Philippa Gates, professor of film studies at Wilfrid Laurier University, explains how the Hays Code affected Hollywood.
So some people regard the introduction of the Hays Code as somehow a group censoring Hollywood, but actually it was Hollywood's own decision to institute a system of self-censorship out of the fear that otherwise the government would step in and censor, and then there would be no control.
After the Legion of Catholic Decency pushed people to boycott Hollywood and the choices they made, the code was strictly enforced.
So really what we see for, sort of 30 years after that is not a lot of sex and infidelity, no homosexuality, not drug use or alcoholism ever presented in a way that, in a relaxed way. And really by 1968 people say this is no longer valid in this world, and we switched to a rating system so that instead of producing all films for general audience, whether children or old people, the idea of the rating system was, okay, you can have sex and nudity and violence, but then we're going to give it a higher rating to restrict the number of people, or the kinds of people who can go watch those films.
Once the rating system came into play, Hollywood became more relaxed with what they would show, but there was still this idea that nudity was something to only be used sparingly. Filmmakers and the creators of the Vaughn Film Festival, Mark Pagliaroli and Antonio Yanko, are unsure why there has been a recent change, but agree that a change has definitely been made.
I wouldn't say there's any difference between now and 5 years ago. I'd say maybe 20 to 30 years ago, because not much has changed in terms of the acceptance of nudity in film recently. It's really, since the new millennium started, I think they've really just gone all out with it.
With the change in Hollywood ideals, how is nudity now perceived in film? Laura Esmerado, a graduate from Humber College's Acting for Film and Television program and actress, explains her view on the acceptance of nudity.
I think they're a little bit more lenient with nudity being accepted into films. I don't think it's quite yet breaking through in the film industry.
Some parent groups and concerned children's advocates say that nudity in film promotes promiscuity and adultery among people. Many filmmakers are breaking barriers and adding male nudity to their own films. The perception of male nudity versus female nudity is something that is still debated on among viewers, actors, and directors.
The reality of the situation is it's the human body, and there's nothing wrong with showing it. And I think that people are becoming more comfortable with having that conversation about nudity and about the human body.
And that seems to be a concern that Hollywood upholds as well, this idea that female nudity, no problem, male nudity, potentially problematic.
It seems that as human beings become more comfortable with the human body, the more accepted it becomes in film.
It's a risk, and I think that as an actor, we're always taking risks. So I mean, isn't that kind of the point? Like, wouldn't you want to take a risk? It can either make or break your career.
A director includes it in their blocking for a reason. It's helping to tell the story.
For Spoke TV, I'm Sarah Schilling.